The human brain, a 3-pound universe of firing neurons and intricate synaptic pathways, did not evolve to process the relentless, high-frequency stimuli of the modern digital world. It evolved in sync with natural rhythms, the gradual light shift of dawn and dusk, the gentle lap of water against a shore, the slow dance of clouds across a vast sky. When we confront the visual spectacle of a warm sunset over calm tropical waters, we are not merely looking at a pretty picture. We are engaging in a form of neurological homecoming. This process begins at the most primal level of our visual cortex, where the specific wavelengths of light associated with a sunset, the deep oranges, rich reds, and soft purples, are processed differently than the harsh, blue-dominated light of screens or fluorescent bulbs. Research in environmental psychology and photobiology consistently shows that long wavelength, warm light promotes a decrease in cortisol, the primary stress hormone, while simultaneously encouraging the production of melatonin precursors, gently signaling to our deep-seated circadian systems that a time for relaxation and recovery is near. But the impact runs far deeper than hormonal shifts. The calm waters component of the scene introduces another critical element: fractal complexity. The repetitive, self-similar patterns found in the gentle ripples of a tranquil sea, in the texture of clouds, in the branching of distant palm trees, are of a specific, mid-range mathematical complexity that the human brain is inherently wired to find profoundly soothing. Neuroscientists using fMRI scans have observed that viewing such natural fractal patterns induces a state of soft fascination, a term coined by attention restoration theory pioneers Rachel and Stephen Kaplan. This state allows the brain's directed attention network, the overworked system we use for tasks, decisions, and filtering digital noise, to finally disengage and recuperate. Unlike the hard fascination triggered by fast-paced action or shocking content, which still demands cognitive processing, soft fascination provides a gentle, effortless focus that facilitates mental restoration. This is why you can gaze at a sunset or rolling waves for extended periods without cognitive fatigue, whereas even an entertaining, rapid-cut video will eventually drain your mental resources. The combination of warm light and gentle fractal patterns acts as a bilateral reset for a nervous system perpetually stuck in a low-grade fight-or-flight mode due to urban and digital living. Furthermore, the sheer horizon line in such a scene, where the vast, uniform war meets the expansive sky, provides the visual system with a clear, unambiguous depth cue and a lack of visual clutter. This reduces the cognitive load associated with edge detection and object discrimination that our brains must perform countless times per second in complex urban environments. The result is a quieting of the default mode network, the brain network associated with self-referential thought, anxiety, and rumination about the past and future. In essence, the sunset over water scene doesn't just add peace, it actively subtracts the neural noise that constitutes our baseline stress. This subtraction creates a vacant space, a cognitive quietude, which is the prerequisite for the next layer of impact: emotional and philosophical introspection. The beauty is not a passive decoration, it is an active, bioalgorithmic key, unlocking a more ancient, stable, and peaceful mode of being within our own minds, a direct dialogue between the ordered patterns of nature and the deep structures of our own consciousness, all initiated by a simple arrangement of light, water, and color that feels instinctively like a return to a home we've never physically visited but have always known in our evolutionary memory. Moving beyond the immediate neurophysiological reset, the sustained contemplation of a serene sunset scene initiates a profound, yet often subconscious, philosophical, and emotional reckoning. This is where the transition from passive viewing to active internal dialogue occurs. The sunset is the ultimate symbol of transience, a daily reminder of the inevitable passage of time, of endings, and of the cyclical nature of existence. Yet, when paired with the enduring, timeless stability of the calm sea, it presents a paradox that the mind finds uniquely compelling: the marriage of the ephemeral with the eternal. Psychologists studying awe, an emotion frequently elicited by vast, beautiful natural scenes, have found that experiences of awe can diminish the presence of the individual self, a phenomenon known as the small self. When you are fully immersed in the grandeur of a blazing sky reflecting on an infinite ocean, your personal worries, social media notifications, and daily irritations shrink in perceived significance. This isn't a discouraging minimization, but a liberating one. It contextualizes the self within a much larger, more beautiful, and enduring system. This shift in perspective is correlated with increased feelings of connectedness, generosity, and pro-social behavior, as documented in studies by researchers like Dr. Keltner. The warm hues themselves carry deep symbolic weight across cultures. Orange and red are colors of energy, warmth, and, in their sunset manifestation, of completion and satisfaction, the visual equivalent of a concluding, harmonious chord in a symphony. They signal the fruitful end of a day's labor, a concept etched into our collective unconscious. The calm water, meanwhile, is arguably humanity's most universal archetype for the mind, the subconscious and emotional state. A turbulent sea reflects inner turmoil. A mirror flat, calm sea represents peace, clarity, and profound depth. By presenting these two elements together, the scene becomes a dynamic metaphor for achieving inner peace, not by avoiding the passage of time and its inevitable endings, but by meeting them with a vast, deep, and unshakable calm. This metaphorical processing happens largely in the brain's right hemisphere, associated with holistic thinking, metaphor, and emotional processing. It is a form of non-verbal therapy, allowing us to work through concepts of impermanence, acceptance, and peace without the need for internal linguistic narration. Furthermore, this visual meditation can trigger a specific and valuable type of memory recall: nostalgic memories that are positive and emotionally warm. The warmth of the color palette is a direct sensory cue that can unlock associated memories of comfort, safety, love, or past moments of peace, whether from a childhood beach holiday or a moment of personal triumph viewed against a similar sky. This positive nostalgic recall, studies show, strengthens our sense of personal continuity and identity, boosts mood, and increases optimism for the future. It reminds us that we have experienced peace before and are therefore capable of experiencing it again. In a world saturated with content designed to provoke outrage, fear, or urgent desire, the sunset scene offers a radical alternative: content designed to provoke integrative thought, emotional equilibrium, and a sense of existential belonging. It asks a silent, powerful question: if something this beautiful, this transient, and this peaceful can exist as a regular feature of the planet, what does that imply about the potential for beauty and peace within the fleeting span of a human life? The scene doesn't provide a verbal answer. It allows the feeling of the answer to emerge organically from the quieted mind, creating a resonance between the external visual harmony and an internal yearning for the same balance. A process that is as therapeutic as it is aesthetic, rebuilding our emotional resilience one calm, glowing horizon at a time. To dismiss the power of such imagery as merely subjective or just a mood is to ignore the concrete, measurable impacts it has on human creativity, problem solving, and decision making. The state of cognitive quietude and emotional resonance induced by the sunset and water visualization is not an endpoint. It is a launchpad for enhanced higher order thinking. When the brain's default mode network is quieted from its habitual rumination, and the directed attention network is rested through soft fascination, a third crucial network often comes online with greater vitality: the executive control network. This network, centered in the prefrontal cortex, is responsible for complex cognitive tasks like planning, innovation, and strategic thought. However, it operates optimally not under stress or forced concentration, but from a platform of underlying calm and safety, precisely the state cultivated by our serene scene. Historical anecdotes and modern studies alike support the link between relaxed, nature-connected states and breakthrough ideas. The concept of incubation in creativity relies on stepping away from intense focus and allowing the subconscious to make novel connections. A walk in nature is a classic prescription for a creative block. The visual stimulus of a vast, calming horizon provides the perfect mental canvas for this incubation. It offers just enough gentle structure to prevent mind wandering from slipping into anxiety, but not so much detail that it captures directed attention. In this space, solutions to lingering problems often arise unbidden, not through linear logic, but through intuitive leaps. This is because the brain, in a mildly meditative, awe-inspired state, has increased connectivity between disparate regions, allowing for more novel neural pathways to form. Furthermore, the emotional quality of awe and calm fostered by the scene directly influences decision-making. Behavioral economics research demonstrates that decisions made under stress or time pressure are more likely to be short-sighted, risk-averse in opportunity, and risk-prone in loss scenarios. Conversely, decisions made from a state of calm, expanded perspective, the small self induced by are more likely to be long-term oriented, ethically considered, and strategically balanced. The scene, therefore, functions as a cognitive tuning fork, bringing our mental processes back into harmony, away from the frantic, reactive dissonance of modern life. This has direct applications we can harness deliberately. Viewing such imagery before a brainstorming session, a strategic planning period, or a difficult personal decision can literally alter the quality of the output. It moves the mind from a scarcity-based, threat-reactive mode to an abundance-based, opportunity-oriented mode. The vastness of the sky and sea suggests limitless possibilities. The warmth suggests supportive conditions. The calm suggests manageable execution. It is a visual primer for expansive thinking. For students, a few minutes of viewing can enhance focus and retention for subsequent study sessions by reducing cognitive load and anxiety. For professionals, it can be a reset between intense tasks, preventing burnout and preserving the quality of judgment throughout the day. The data from biofeedback studies is clear. Heart rate variability, HRV, a key metric of nervous system resilience and adaptability, increases during exposure to calming natural visuals. A high HRV is associated with better emotional regulation, cognitive flexibility, and overall health. Thus, the simple act of watching is not passive consumption. It is an active training regimen for a more resilient, creative, and effective mind, building our capacity to navigate complexity not by fighting it with more force, but by meeting it with a deeper, more settled clarity that originates from that fundamental visual metaphor of stability meeting transformation, of the deep sea reflecting the brilliant, transient sky. The implications of this single, potent visual combination extend far beyond individual well-being, touching on our collective societal health and our relationship with the planet itself. In an era of environmental crisis, often communicated through images of destruction, melting ice, raging fires, deforested landscapes, a complementary and equally necessary narrative is one of profound, intrinsic value. The warm sunset over calm tropical waters is not an escape from reality, but a vital reminder of what is at stake. It represents the pinnacle of Earth's aesthetic and life-supporting genius. The colors are created by Rayleigh scattering of sunlight through a clean atmosphere. The calm water signifies healthy, unpolluted marine ecosystems. The entire scene is a product of a complex, balanced biosphere. Psychologists studying environmental behavior have identified a critical factor in motivating protective action: emotional affinity and connectedness to nature. It is difficult to fight for something you only perceive as an abstract concept or source of doom. You fight for what you love, what you find beautiful and what you feel a part of. Regular, immersive exposure to the supreme beauty of natural scenes like a sunset cultivates that love, affinity, and sense of participatory belonging. It answers the question, why should we care? Not with a statistic, but with a felt experience of sublime value. This is the antidote to environmental fatigue, where constant exposure to negative news leads to disengagement. By fostering awe and calm, such visuals can prevent the compassion numbness that shuts down action. They reconnect us to the biophilia hypothesis, E.O. Wilson's theory that humans possess an innate tendency to see connections with nature and other forms of life. When that connection is felt viscerally through beauty and peace, stewardship becomes a natural, emotional imperative rather than a burdensome ethical duty. Furthermore, on a societal level, the shared experience of such universal beauty has a subtle unifying potential. Unlike content that algorithms use to divide. Based on ideology, a beautiful natural scene is a common reference point that can transcend cultural, political, and linguistic barriers. Its appeal is rooted in shared human sensory and neurological hardware. In a fragmented world, promoting shared experiences of awe and common appreciation for planetary beauty can be a small but meaningful counterforce to polarization. It grounds us in a shared identity as inhabitants of a stunningly beautiful, fragile world. This collective aspect is crucial. The peace we derive individually is amplified when we recognize it as a universal human capacity and need. Protecting sources of such beauty, clean skies, healthy oceans becomes a project of collective self-care. The calm waters are not just out there, they reflect a state we wish to cultivate in our communities and global relations. The sunset, a daily global event, is a reminder of our shared planetary rhythm. Therefore, engaging with this content is a quietly radical act. It is a way to fortify one's own psyche while simultaneously reinforcing the emotional foundations necessary for a sustainable, empathetic, and collectively intelligent society. It is a practice of seeing the world not as a collection of resources or problems, but as a home of immense, inspiring artistry that we are both part of and responsible for. A perspective shift that is essential for navigating the challenges of the coming century, with wisdom rather than panic, with grounded compassion rather than detached despair. As we have journeyed from the firing of your neurons to the expanses of cosmic philosophy, and finally to the edges of collective consciousness, one truth becomes undeniably clear: the warm sunset over calm tropical waters is far more than a passive background or a fleeting moment of leisure. It is a sophisticated, multi-layered tool for human optimization and existential realignment. It is a neurological reset button, a philosophical counselor, a creativity incubator, decision-making aid, and a bridge to environmental stewardship, all encoded in light, color, and form. This understanding transforms how we approach such content. It moves it from the category of entertainment or ambience into the realm of intentional practice, a form of visual hygiene as important for the modern mind as dental hygiene is for physical health. In a digital landscape competing for your attention with increasingly aggressive tactics, choosing to immerse yourself in content of deep, authentic serenity is a vote for a different kind of consciousness. It is a deliberate cultivation of inner space, clarity, and resilience. The single, unbroken narrative you have just experienced is itself an embodiment of this principle, a designed mental journey without abrupt cuts, jarring headings, or manipulative cliffhangers, allowing your mind to flow, reflect, and integrate ideas at its own natural pace. This is the ethos behind this channel. Every video, every scene, is crafted not just to be seen, but to be felt and used as a catalyst for personal and collective restoration. We dive deep into the science, the symbolism, and the soul of each image and soundscape, providing you not just a view, but a comprehensible experience of why it matters and how it can transform your moment, your day, and your perspective. The pursuit of peace is not a passive surrender. It is an active, disciplined, and intelligent rebellion against the chaos of the age. It requires curating your sensory inputs as carefully as you curate your nutrition. This channel is your partner in that vital curation. And so, as we conclude this exploration, the call to action is not a mere procedural step, but a direct invitation to deepen this practice and join a community oriented toward calm, clarity, and awe. Therefore, if this uninterrupted journey has resonated with you, if you felt the cognitive quietude settle in, or if you simply wish to have more of this purposeful content in your life, next step is critical. First, solidify your presence here, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our weekly deep dives into the power of serene visuals and soundscapes. Secondly, make this practice active in the comments below. Share one word or one short phrase that describes the feeling or thought that emerged for you during this video. Let's create a tapestry of shared calm. Third, extend the experience. Explore the curated playlists on this channel designed for specific needs: focus, sleep, anxiety relief, creative spark, and find your next mental sanctuary. Finally, carry this beyond the screen. After you pause this video, take just 60 seconds to look out a window, recall the image of that warm horizon, and breathe into the calm it represents. You have the tools, you have the understanding, and you now have a community. The warm sunset is not just on the screen, its potential effect is now within you. Let's continue this journey of intentional peace together.